Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to bring to you the Suzuki VGT, which came out in update 1.15. This is going to be my buyer's guide on it. Basically we're going to talk about if it's any good, if it's weak, if it's strong, and basically come to the conclusion of should you buy it, and obviously as always we'll do the lap time leaderboards and see where it ends up. So if you don't know previous Gran Turismo games, this is basically a bit of a spiritual successor to the Suzuki concept, which we had in some of the older Gran Turismo games. I believe starting in Gran Turismo 4, there was a Suzuki concept, very similar body style. This just feels like a modern day update of that. As you can see, it costs $1 million from the Suzuki dealer. Not too much really in reality, compared to some of the cars we have in the game at like 20 million plus. But still a little bit pricey, but it's the average price for a VGT car. So on to the actual lap we go. One thing I'm going to note, that the handling on this car is quite, I'd say quite twitchy. It does like to break traction, but it's never to the point where it's uncontrollable. It's quite easy to sort of wind it back in and take the car back under control. It does feel quite nimble and quite small on this track, where a lot of the other cars you use feel quite big around the Nordschleife. They feel like they're taking up all the road, whereas this car doesn't. It feels quite, lightweight, small, and like I said, quite nimble. Handling department, I absolutely love the handling of this car. I think it really suits the type of car it is. From what I know, it does run a high booster engine and it's kicking out over 400 brake. While this may sound quite, quite a small amount compared to some of the other VGT cars, while you are going around, you will feel like you are going much quicker than you actually are. Performance wise, it's okay. Top speed is definitely not the priority of this car. It's obviously not what it's meant to be. I'd say this car definitely suits the more smaller, nimble tracks, and I feel like it's kind of the same as the Group 4 Suzuki Swift Sport we have, with that being one of the weaker Group 4 cars. I'm not going to lie here, this is definitely, if not the weakest VGT car. It just feels like a lot of the cars that come out from Suzuki that we're getting, in Gran Turismo 7 are some of the weaker ones in the classes they're made for. But all in all, I would definitely say this is, more of a sort of a short track sprint kind of car. You definitely want to use it on tracks that you can take advantage of, tight corners, because acceleration, fine, handling, top notch, does feel really good, and I do feel like you'll be able to overtake some of the more power hungry cars there, but obviously as soon as you hit a straight it'll probably get eaten up. If you haven't already done the Vision Gran Turismo cafe menu, you will know this one pretty much sits at the back by a long shot in pretty much every event it takes part in. Would I say this car's worth, the 1 million? Probably not. For me, although it's a Vision Gran Turismo car, I'd say it's probably worth more around the the 450 to 350k mark. I do think $1 million does seem a bit inflated for this car. Obviously Vision Gran Turismo cars don't have the most events in the game. In fact, there's quite a lack of them. There is probably someone out there that knows a really good way to sort of earn money with this car, or an event where it really just beats the whole field. But like I said, I mean, these are sort of out of the box first impression. No tuning, no body mods. Obviously this car I don't believe has any body mods, so yeah, I can't really sort of edit them in that way when it comes to making these videos. Do I think I'll use this car long term? Probably not. I'll probably use it as sort of a bit of a a lap time car on some of the smaller tracks just for fun, but I think that's as far as it will go. Like I said, I mean, $1 million for a car that's sort of not going to be used as much as some of these other cars that cost $1 million, where you can sort of earn your money back with it within an hour easy, or half an hour. It does feel like a bit of a disappointment. One thing I'm going to say, it is nice to have more Vision Gran Turismo cars making the way, into the game. Especially, I believe this is the first one sort of added post-launch to GT7, and I hope it sort of, paves the way for more companies to add more VGT cars into the game. It's definitely exciting to see some of these more fantasy cars from manufacturers. And then obviously sometimes they do turn into real world projects. Like I said, the Audi electric one that turned into a real car. So it's cool to see these kind of like fantasy machines making their way into Gran Turismo and then sort of ended up as a real thing. Do I think this will end up as a real car? Probably not. I think at most, even if it was made by Suzuki, it'd end up as like just a shell. It wouldn't be a running car. But overall, like I said, it is cool to see more Vision Gran Turismo cars to, come into GT7 and sort of expand that that roster. I do kind of hope we get a lot more events for them to be more useful. I think with the amount of concept cars we have in the game, the lack of events is just really frustrating at this point in the game's life cycle. There's tons of the things, and there's a definite lack of overall events for them, which just makes them not really worth the million. Some of them are worth the amount just from the pace alone. I think stuff like the Audi are definitely worth the 1 million just for how quick they are. Whereas cars like this, or the more weaker Vision Gran Turismo cars, are definitely not worth $1 million for the performance you get out of them. And obviously with the lack of events, it's definitely not worth it. So this is a point in the video in which I'm going to go quiet. I'm going to let you listen to the engine note and you can make your own decision on it, yourself. So in my opinion, I think it sounds okay. Obviously I believe it is powered by that high booster engine, which obviously it's a motorbike engine. Which is pretty unique. There is some unique features about this car. One thing I'm going to note in the sort of looks department is basically just a Suzuki Swift that someone stood on. So it's as if someone got a toy car of a Suzuki Swift and just squished it, and somehow it ended up like this because the roof fell off. There was a few memes out there about this car. If you're into that kind of thing, they are pretty funny to see. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's an okay car. I wouldn't say it's worth $1 million. Would I say it's 100% a must buy? Probably not. I don't overly rate it, but it is cool just to have that, the first VGT car added post-launch to GT7. So let's summarise my, entire opinion on this car, whilst doing it in its default trim, around the Nordschleife. Handling, top notch. Massively controllable. It does like to break its back end, but you will be able to sort of wind it back in, making it really quite fun to drive. The sense of speed is actually really good in the car. It does feel like you are going much quicker than you actually are. Some of the cars in GT7 feel really slow and sluggish, but you'll be going quite quick and you'll put some insane laps in. Acceleration is good. It's not the best, but it is good. And obviously top speed is just a massive, weak point. But I mean, that's to sort of be expected. When I saw it get released, a lot of people were really disappointed that this car was coming. I personally think it's cool because it's a new VGT car. Interior is okay. It feels a bit, although it's futuristic, it feels quite basic compared to a lot of the other Vision Gran Turismo cars. The steering wheel is pretty cool. And it's pretty awesome to see that little Suzuki badge. I mean, overall, we know which Suzuki we want in the game, and there is rumours floating around at the minute that the Escudo Pikes Peak car may be making a return. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it's not just another VGT car, or sort of updated version of a previous car, which this kind of feels like it is. But, who knows. So overall, good car, not the best. So on to the overall, individual sectors and the overall time. Overall, we came out with a 7 minutes 33.625, which, if you have watched the previous videos, is rather weak. It will be kind of funny to see where this comes out as a million, a million credit car, and how it compares to some of the cars around it. I have a feeling it's going to come out of the bottom end, but let's find out and take a look. So as you can see, it has come out 14th out of 16 cars. The other DLC car, the Roadster Shop Rampage, is there. That is only, I believe, like 350k credits, and it's only 0.3 seconds slower over a whole lap. So with all that being said, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I make this kind of content each and every day. I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Cheers, guys.